call the orders for July. Members present. We have May, Tammy, David, and David, and Allison, John, and Selma. Yes. First order, the approval of the minutes. That was the special call meeting for May 30th.
So I make a motion to approve as written.
It says May, was it May 30th?
Yeah. Yep, May 30. And I'll second.
It was the one you couldn't make, I think.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Who seconded that?
Same.
Kim?
All right, on to visitors and visitors. How we doing?
Doing good. Dustin Graham. Just gonna let y'all know, weekend before last, we had the second annual Calvert City Summer Slam. Baseball tournament. It went fantastic, smooth as silk. We had 210 entrants, from probably 8 or 9 states. We're still sorting out all over. A lot of people came out, and it was 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. To run a tournament like that with 200 entrants is very difficult on 4 courts, and we made it work. Darlene Department did a lot of the organization throughout the year. We've been planning it for probably 7 months. There was we have a pretty good team of people that know what they're doing and everything. We have a guy, Chad Winstead, run the computer system, did registration. That stuff gets pretty complicated. He did great. We had MC there, everything went well. Had a little rain. We handled it, delayed us a few hours, still got out in a good amount of time. So to do that, to make it happen with that amount of people, we started early. 8 o'clock is the first games, and they would end 10 o'clock. Long days, so long hot days, but it could have been worse. I think last year was hotter. We had a breeze this year. So everything, I'm trying to think. We had great sponsors this year. It's one big thing from last year. We had more sponsors. A lot of people wanted to jump on board. I noticed a lot of willingness for that. We turned a lot of people away. Last year we were maxed out, we thought, and I think we ended up about 175. And this year we figured out a way to squeeze in a few more. And everything had to run just like clockwork. I have never been to a tournament that was run that efficiently, where there was never a court open. It was just no complaints. And I say we were there all day. It was run in a way where you didn't have to be there all day. Like, you knew what time you had to be there. We'd get you in and out about 2.5 hours, and you were done. So all those people weren't there the whole day. It just came in waves, and everything ran really, really well. Blair and Wendy helped us a lot. They were there the whole way, come to every meeting, and they did a lot of legwork too. So we had a lot of volunteers too. I don't know how many, probably 30 or more volunteers helping work courts and things like that, just kind of working in shifts. So it was just a great event. I feel like Calvert City was represented very well, and people come in and were really impressed, and they were like, because we go to tournaments all around, and you just don't, that's about top level and how everything was running, how smooth it went. We had food trucks, we had giveaways, raffles, 50-50s. I mean, there were so many different things going on. It was neat. Everything went off without a hitch. So, and it all starts here. We're so thankful for the courts, because that's why we can do all that. If those courts weren't there, we wouldn't have the tools to work with. So we're thankful for that. Hoping we can get some more built by next year, and we'll bump it up, because we turned a lot of people away this year. They were calling, get me in, squeeze me in. We were maxed out. We did everything we could. So, but I want to thank y'all, and y'all make it possible. This whole, everything we do is great. So it all started here. So I want you to know that it was used rough. That's all.
You did an awesome job. Thank you.
And hopefully when the new courts come.
Yeah, we're gonna bump it up. It's gonna be bigger and better. Yeah, we're ready. We're ready to start planning for next year. So.
How's the parking?
Parking was great, because like I said, it comes in waves. So there was never really, you have the hill, the top of the hill parking by the courts, They would fill that up mostly, because then we had the bathroom, stalls there, you know, they brought in 3 porta potties and a wash station. So you had that take up some spots, but then we would go maybe 4 cars or 6 cars off into the grass, and that was it. We didn't have to use any lower parking. So it was fun.
Hopefully next year you won't have to have 40 guns.
Yeah.
For any future events that are gonna be multiple days, we're gonna, I told them, I said, make sure that you have a cleaning system where they come by at least once a day, restock it, clean it, and you're not having to do it yourself.
Restaurant.
Yes. If you're keeping one over 24 hours, it needs to be cleaned.
Yeah.
So, and I just didn't know what they didn't know or whatever, and I told them, they'll come and clean it once a day.
Yeah, and thanks for making sure I know you made sure all that was.
Yeah, that's
ready.
what I heard, so
No,
But
you
we'll-
made sure all that was ready.
that won't happen again.
With what?
With anything like the rest of like that.
Oh,
If we have something.
I didn't
that we have
realize
to
there
bring
was-
them in, and they're gonna be over a day, like you have a tournament or something like that, make sure they have a cleaning system, a cleaning, where they come in today. The actual like lanes, we come in and clean them. They'll clean them out, redo them and wipe them down and put in new paper and all that stuff. So we can.
One of the things that made a difference this year as far as the 40 pods, we had about 40 more people on site for players, extra event worked in. Bathroom construction guys made use of them for a couple of days too. Don't get me wrong. But I think put more load on them than last year.
Oh, absolutely.
there's definitely more pictures.
But honestly, that's part of the service. I thought they should have come and done that. I didn't know that they weren't.
Yeah, we ran out of paper.
Yeah, that's what, but Blair was telling me, and I'm going, that can't happen.
I didn't know that. So we haven't even, this is fresh, we haven't had our post-tournament meeting, we'll have that coming up. So, in March, if you don't all know, we presented the, Sharp Calvert County Resource Center with $6,000 check from last year's tournament. And, we had pulled some out from, just to put towards expenses for this year's tournament, and we had to pay expenses because it was the first year last year. So I expect that, we're gonna do that donation again, but I expect. So we'll get all that figured out. Financial straight. Iron all that stuff out, figure out what we can do better for next year. Mental notes we've all been taking. It's right there. It was as good as they could run. I expected it though. We have a lot of good people. We have a great team. I did not expect to have an issue. So it's just a lot of fun. When we do that, it usually works out.
It's great to hear.
Yeah,
It was awesome.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Happy for Calvert to have that. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, it was a lot of positive feedback. Everybody had a good time.
And even while I was there, the guy that almost passed out,
Oh,
during the
yeah,
game,
and,
oh yeah, I was there during the game, and then comes back after being very sick, wins the gold.
They
He
did.
won the gold, he and his partner.
Middle of the
I was
championship
there.
game, he got sick.
He's sick again though, after they got the medal.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then still got
I
a
wish
medal.
I wish we could brought one of us. We had these big wrestling, like authentic wrestling belts, weigh about 25 pounds, all gold embroidered with the logo, Calvert City tournament. And if you won, you got to get your picture made with the belt. And then somebody with a jersey, like, oh, yeah, I was one of them. And so it was pretty neat. So that's some cool pictures people posting on Facebook of the Calvert City belts. You didn't get to keep it. We keep it. There's 2 of them, and they're very expensive. But
Yeah,
you get to come back
I was
next year.
giving them all.
No,
those. I thought,
no.
whoa.
That was very expensive. But you get to come back next year and defend your belt. You still have the belt.
That's good.
Yeah. That's good. We have some wrestling fans. So I'm thinking about that. I kind of went along with our little promo video, nothing else. It was all wrestling.
Awesome.
Yeah, great time.
Well,
Y'all got
thank
any
you all for your
questions?
hard work. I really appreciate it. It was amazing, just to see the signs around and the people, and it was amazing.
Anything else you need from us as far as facilities?
We would really like shade. That's one thing. I know John's worked on some, but, the seating areas, bleachers are in direct sunlight. It's very hot. So like at the tournament, people weren't, they were very, very sit on. Once the sun would go down, everybody would get in the bleachers. But even like when we go up and play during the day, it's really hot. There's just no shade. A lot of people, like we brought as many tents as we could just to give, and then we rented the big tent But as far as spectators sit by the courts, there's not any relief for some. So that would be nice at some point. We've not been, we really need the courts, so we've not been mentioning other things, you know, so we can get something going there, because that's priority number one. But that is neat. Anything else?
Barbara and I have already been talking about the shade.
Yeah,
So-
I know you.
But right now, it's just that we've got the money for the court.
Yeah.
And then I think that we need to look at that in the next round. But it does need shade, there's no doubt of that, to utilize the bleachers.
Yeah, in the summer we go on the far side.
In the mornings, you
In the
go to the other
morning,
side.
you can go over there and it's very nice.
That's different play, that is,
That's for to start everyday play.
but it helps it much. If you'll ever see any demographics on the event, 200 players, 3/4 of them were from Kentucky, 75%. And most all that's west of the lakes. Some from Cadiz and a few other areas scattered around. And then the next two big areas were Tennessee and Southern. The other 50%.
I was fascinated in the age range.
Yeah, what was the age range? I was.
15 to 76.
That was amazing.
And something, yeah. And
I was the oldest woman.
Awesome.
I was 74.
still whoops up on them out there too.
I know, the man was 76.
Wow.
And,
Come on, John, get out there with them.
but we have noticed, and not tournament related, but there's been a big pickup in younger kids coming out on random nights, not with the crew. So like right now at 6 o'clock, there'll probably be 20 something people, advanced players tonight. Well, there will be other people come up, and it's been more high school. A lot of high school to young college kids. They'll come up in like a group of 8 or 6 and come up and play. People we've never seen. It's always new people, and then you'll see them come back occasionally. But people that may play like once every couple of weeks and get their friends together and come out. And in the past few months, that's picked up a lot. So it's really starting to get crowded. But we enjoy seeing the younger people start to share the court. Whatever.
But I will say, on those nights, those kids are not the ones that do like leaving the water bottles in the trash off. It's the ones that come after this way, like,
Mhm.
because we've had people there and everything's picked up when they leave. I mean, it's nothing for us to come over there at 8 o'clock in the morning and somebody's left stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that,
I think
We
I don't know if
appreciate
that's
it. and
pickleball
reg-
players though.
Pardon?
Right.
I don't know if that's pickleball players though.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there's some folks that are hanging out there that are creating some mischief, and so we're working on it.
Because most all your pickleball players really appreciate the courts and they will take care of it. Every now and then somebody forget and leave something out with them. But we don't encourage anybody to bring anything into the courts when we have group, right, Dustin?
Right, and there should not have
None
been
of
a
us
piece of
do.
paper on that property after the tournament. I made sure that thing was clean.
And that was 6:30. I mean, 10:30 Sunday night, wasn't it? Yes, it was.
Well, thank you.
Well, I mean, you guys left it in good shape. I have no complaints about, the way you all left. When you left, it was like, the only thing there was tents that hadn't been picked up yet. And, some of the advertisement on the banners, and that was all. So, but as far as trash goes, no. You did very well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank y'all so much.
The grant room is under construction. They did a rough end of the plumbing. We're also putting in the new water line, supply line. When we had our leak and couldn't find where it was going or where it was at, it was actually draining right straight out through some of the dense grade underneath the surface and into the
The ditch.
sewer line, no, the sewer line, and going back right straight out. So we spent, I don't know, what was it, how much water did we use last month, the month before? Well, they fixed it. It was an outrageous amount of water. I mean, like, oh, it's a lot of water. So anyway, what we've got, I think we've got part of that, but we're actually running a new line. It's taking in, it's a 2-inch line, it's 1,200 feet of that, and the rest of it is gonna be 1 inch. We've got a tee-off going to the bathroom, concession, the old parks office, that building, and then the other one's going up to the bathroom, the new restroom. So that's how that water supply line. We also have another line that comes in from behind the Civic Center that handles water down to the south end of there's a stub valve at the end of right there where that little blue bench is for the skate park.
Mhm.
So we got that. I don't know, we've had some vandalism, more mischief than anything, nothing really damaged, but they're messing with stuff, messing with. We've had a lot of our, the old picnic tables, the old heavy ones, flipped off into the woods and flipped over into the creek, over both Memorial Park and Dr. Park. They actually went in and strode some of the pipe, the 2-inch line and 1-inch line that we had set up for the others, strode that around. They did an architectural design on the tables there at the
I mean,
at the
some
pickleball.
work.
I know, I was thinking how.
That was very creative.
And
Very
And they
creative.
really only tore up the trash can, right? Everything else was just kind of flipped over or stacked
Yeah,
up.
that was not, I
Still.
mean, they weren't really tearing up a lot of stuff, just flipped over and like you said. Yeah, but they didn't stop the first night. They came back and some, because they got brave the first night. But, the police have a lead and they're following up on it, so. Pickleball court, I have sent that paperwork off to HDR for bid documents and final design documents. And again, it's just like, when you guys submitted that stuff to me last year, I used that same, all those dimensions are exactly the way that they were presented. And after I went back and looked on my paperwork here, that fence that separates the length of the court, 2 courts, it is a foot longer on either side like you had specified. You said it's supposed to go
The north-south fence, you talking about, or east?
the one in the middle, that's, not the one that splits. Doesn't split the 2 courts north and south, it splits the courts east and west.
East and west, they go end to end. North-south is
No. I'm talking about the courts being east-west, and yes, it would run north to south.
okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We're talking-
The one in the middle, these are the 4-foot, the smaller ones, the new additions that are not down here. And I've got them set up the way we had talked about them. That's the way they were set up. I went back and did my measurements and they're set up that way anyway, so. We're looking at basic design is gonna have 12 inches of dense grade, 5 inches of asphalt, 3 base, 2 surface. The painting, 10-foot fence on the perimeter, 5 across, separating the north from the south with a 4-foot man opening in the center, and then it'll separate east. It'll run another one. The 4-footer will run between the courts, north and south, and it's all set up like that. They'll have 4 lights, but they're also having to do the drainage and set it up, and then the power for it as well. So, and then it'll do the bid documents and go from there. But I gave all that to them last week, so they're working on it.
Well, I can't believe how well the surface has held up, since I've just recently started playing myself. It's amazing, even with as much traffic as up there, that still looks so good.
That generally holds up well, I can't say they hold up very well, because obviously there's more traffic on it than there is the tennis courts, but the tennis courts have held up very well. When we did the grant for the tennis court to redo it, that was the last time the surface was actually done as you see it. Now, we've had to go in and pressure wash it a time or two because of mold,
Right.
and then because of the ground down there, but we did the overlay for pickleball.
Mhm.
But other than that, it's held up very well. And this, as far as I know, it's the same, it may be better than the actual game tennis courts. Because the tennis court was done in, well, I think it was somewhere around 12. It's like
I'd say you're right.
10, 12 years since we did that court. So we got that set.
When John, you get those
Yes, sir.
lines back, better go ahead and put that line on. Because things happen on, guys may or may not know. I did the Noble Park courts in Paducah. Post got sick, put short on each end. Somebody didn't read the drawing right. I mean, in the design. I assume it's in the design contract. They go back and remount all the fence posts. In the concrete. That's a big deal. I don't think they for it. Not me. Stuff like that, look for them, outside.
We went over all that with the engineering group. So yeah, and you do have to watch, that's the whole point of having someone there to do inspections, because something they will misread things, or they get in a hurry and they don't supposed to do what? We had to go back and send our papers back in, and they completely missed a segment of road off of Old Gilbertsville. They were so busy trying to focus on Old Gilbertsville Highway that they're off D Avenue, that first initial, they just completely missed it. So they came back in and redone. So I know what you're saying. It's not hard for that to happen. We have submitted the grant for the multi-use trail expansion. We hope to hear something in August. I haven't done a generator bid yet, but we're working on it as we speak for the Civic Center. We will most likely will not have enough money to pave the area inside the baseball this year, but we will mill it and work on get all our lines, electrical and all that stuff reworked and get it set up properly. So we don't have all that mismatch of stuff, and everything we're doing, we're putting in the wire so they can be located. But we will get it ready for that, because we'll have to, not only we'll have to mill it, but we'll have to take it down so that it's the court or the ball fields can actually drain onto it instead of being held back by the asphalt. Something to think of in the future. It may be after I'm gone, it may not be, I don't know, but all the lights in Doctors Park on the sport fields have been changed over to LED, with the exception of 1 and 2. Everything else, walking trail, all the other sport courts have got LED lighting, and we don't need metal poles because they already have metal poles there. So it may be something to think about, either before, or if we decide, if you decide down the road that we want to go with sport lighting for the soccer field.
Yeah.
If that's going to lock down, then we want to set up the lighting for that. At the same time, look at fields 1 and 2, and see about just changing the light fixtures to LED versus the metal halide that we have. Okay. Those are the only ones in Doctors Park that are not LED. Okay, everything else is. Now, one thing that we're not going to do is we're not going to put the dancing bear lights in there for the pickleball court. We're going to go back with just an on-off switch. We've had more trouble than I believe we should have had for a set of LED lighting at the pickleball court. First, the photo cells are not working properly. Next, you can't it's problematic putting in a flip switch. The lights we have on fields 3 and 4 will actually dance. I mean, you can do it, they're not colored lights, but they'll flash in different patterns and go around the whole room, just like a regular ball field, a big league ball field. They will do that. And Bob, I think, is probably the only one that knows how to do that.
Yeah.
So, sometimes it's best to keep that technology close.
Yeah.
That's for special occasion. You
Right.
want it? Come talk to us.
Maybe when we host the Savannah Banana.
So, that's kind of where we're sitting at this point. I will tell you this year's, budget did fairly well. We missed our mark for income. Really the only real income we have other than miscellaneous fees or someone making a donation is rental income from the Civic Center or from the field. Sometimes we get it from the field, sometimes we get it from the amphitheater, but mostly from the Civic Center.
Mhm.
And we had 15,000 budgeted this year, or this concluding year. And we got to 14,825. So we did pretty good. Now, we actually, that's down from the previous year. Auditors from 22-23 had us at 22.5.
Okay.
And the year before that, it's 17.10. So since we've had the remodel, we've had, some decent years. This year was probably the worst year we've had revenue wise, even though it wasn't bad,
Right.
but it's the worst year we've had since we've remodeled. So.
Where were we running before the remodel?
We weren't running that much. I mean, you were at 10 grand. Well, let's see here. In 2021, $3,570.
Wow.
Okay. A little paint and lipstick goes a long way. The park department finished the year 36,250 below what they estimated in expenditures. So that also went well. So everybody came out on top there. So it had a decent year as far as the parks goes. There's some things we didn't get done that we had planned, but we also got things done that we had not planned to do. And so overall, I think it was a very successful year, park wise. We're having some trouble. We got the splash pad back up, operating the way it should as far as the water goes. Now we're having to do some work on the controls for the lighting. We can get a colored light. We have to work to get it, but we can't get it to do what it originally could do and change the colors and do it. So they're working on it, trying to figure out what's messed up, where it is, and trying to get that fixed. So, but we did tell them we do want colored lights at the splash pad for the 4th. Also, I said if there's any way you can work it so that you can get a red, white, and blue, that's what I'd like. And if you can do it, leave it. Don't try to change it. Just get it in there and leave it alone. So
And the shades are amazing.
Yes.
Everybody loves those.
I think it's picked up our participation down there.
Yeah.
Especially with the blueberry colors.
Yes.
Like, there's no one.
Too lost.
But I
The,
was kind of anxious about how they would look. I don't know. I just wanted to.
You like them?
Yeah.
At first, I went from a distance, and where the camera was set up, I couldn't see the concrete. And I was kind of leery about, did we make the right call on the color, for the post? And then when I got up to the pad with the concrete, I'm going like, yeah, it just became part of the pad,
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would have done it different or not. I mean, you know, we talked about it and,
Mhm.
and we were told that that would disappear, that color would disappear in the background.
Mhm.
And I thought, okay, but I'm thinking, you know, there's not a lot of concrete behind that. It's a lot of green here.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, but anyway, I think it worked out well. I think it looks good. I think it's gonna be there. I think that's a structure that's gonna be there.
Definitely.
So now when we put shades down here at the pickleball, you need to do at least 2 posts, you know, set up, if not a 4-post setup, something like that to get the shade in there. One of the cantilever is not needed there. It's also not gonna be, it's not gonna be enough. That's a 14-foot by 14-foot.
Mhm.
And the benches down there are 15. So you're gonna have to go with something a little bit longer
Mhm.
and probably have multiple posts. You can go the posts don't have to be near as big as the ones we have down here, simply because you got multiples to hold that.
Okay.
But I'm thinking something that's got kind of a quarter round type setup
Mhm.
that can come down a little lower for the afternoon sun, and yet still catch mid sun.
Mhm.
You know, you're not going to get it to take. There's going to be times when you're going to have to shift from one side to the other because of the sun and the way it's angled. You can't get away. You can't. I don't know a way to do it without putting a HUD in, you know, or something of that nature. Um,
But all of the amenities,
I'm sorry,
but some of the amenities.
I'm not even thought about them yet.
Okay.
We're mowing it right now. I'm trying to figure out what exactly the mayor wants. So that's still a conversation. I want to see what he's got, what he's got. And I'll come back and talk with you guys about that for like figuring out the time. I still think, you know, doing something like we have here at Memorial Park versus something like we've got over at, not Memorial, I'm sorry, Doctors Park versus Memorial Park. This is going to be something that's going to need. I'm thinking don't go with the powder coated benches like we have down there, because everywhere we got, you're going to either have it shade or put a straight shade structure on it because you're sitting almost on bare metal, you know. Whereas the others, like we have here, are vinyl coated.
Mhm.
So it may be less heat and easier to deal with because honestly, there is no shade down to there. Not at this point. If we do, it's going to have to be on that east side along that road because they've got the most space there to work with. It's flat and it's also not a levee like the rest of that is. And so we're not having to span a bridge, eventually I got a feeling he's going to try to put some sort of a walkway or bridge type thing over the entrance and the outflow, but I don't know that yet. And if they do, I don't know. He may have to set up something because it may have to be for ADA compliance, maybe something else, and that's something else we may not want to get into. I also concern myself because I don't know that they'll ever have anything. Well, you can never say never because I had someone ask, he said, where's the floodplain? I said, who you asking, me or Noah?
Right.
You know, there's a lot of floodplain when you talk to Noah.
Mhm.
So,
And how many lifetime floods have we had in the South County?
yeah, we've already had 2 100-year floods within a 10-year period.
Yeah.
And some of these people right now are experiencing beyond a 5-year 100 event. So, our weather patterns are really weird at this point in time. So, right now, FEMA and the federal government's only requiring the 100-year or the 1% chance zone, the 0.02, which is 500. You get what people call a 500-year. It's not required to be permanent. But if they had not blown Bird Point that year when they did in Missouri, we may have seen a 500-year ban. Yeah. No, we actually had guys voting into the water plant. So it's one of those things where just, I'll never say never when it comes to water.
Right.
So. And I guess that's about all I've got, unless you guys have got certain questions.
No, I was just, well, that's what we do business, so. I was just gonna ask about, like, our strategic plan, or do we have like a 5-year plan? I can't remember. It's been so long since Blue Parks. Did we have? Or
We
I-
did, we actually set one up, but it's, I think we're beyond the 5-year.
That's what I thought.
So it probably needs to be revisited. Matter of fact, not a real bad idea is that, we've still got things we're working on based on that.
Right.
The comprehensive plan, the strategic plan and goals. The update we had sometime, a couple years back. That's part of this multi-use trail that we're trying to apply for. I think has something to do with that. It's creating connectivity between our old part of the city and the state park eventually. I know that the state is going to they will put in a roundabout out there at Moon Valley.
Okay.
That is going to be a roundabout. I don't know when, but that's what they're going to do with it. And they're going to tie in, all those roads are going to come together in that roundabout. And they've set it up. I've seen some of the plans for it, and it looks like it will work really soon. I'm used to a roundabout. In Bowling Green, they're all over the place. You are too. I love them, but I think
Those people, it's just
Uh,
different.
They keep the traffic moving. They put one in where the new Buc-ee's is, just north of Bonner, and it works just great.
Yeah.
Where other points, like in Vail, Colorado, it really keeps people moving off the interstate.
well, you don't wind up with the traffic jams that you have, like at traffic lights. You also don't have the major accidents like you do at four-way stops. Anything that you have is generally a side swipe versus a T-bone or a head-on. And so that makes it a whole lot easier to survive, both for the vehicle and the individual.
Yeah.
You see them all over the state now. But
Yeah, more
like
like,
every, like around Bowling Green High School. Just
they
everywhere.
did 3 of them on the road, didn't they?
Well, I wasn't a fan until I went to that meeting.
It keeps it moving and then
That's why you're engineers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've
So
seen
what-
it.
you're talking about the intersection where you come from McDonald's, that road there.
Kennedy,
All 5. of them.
Kennedy, Lone Valley, Campbell, they're all gonna tie into the town one. And it's gonna make it a whole lot easier and safer. I mean, you got traffic, especially y'all coming off Kennedy. That's a cluster right there, because you've got everybody comes up to a 90-degree turn and they've got to stop and a stop. Or at least they've got, or you actually block the traffic trying to come in, one would say, if you close it up. And it's not marked like it should be. So we've had some painting done out there. The city has, and this is way off our base still. But it's part of our, but our walking trail, the state is going to actually make that connection. When we get it down to, the south end and we'll stop short of the intersection. Because the state has said because we're going to put all this other in there, we're going to pick it up and we'll make to carry the walking trail over to the other side.
What's the latest on the walk? What's the latest on the walking trail?
They had a document signed.
Wow.
The same
I'm
as
so
Dick
impressed.
Yeah.
6 months down the road and we got a document signed. Hopefully, and then I didn't even hear that from the state. The state didn't contact me. They contacted the engineering firm and let them know. And the engineering firm said, hey, they signed something. Maybe we can move forward. I'm going like, Yeah, I'm not holding my breath.
I was there yesterday.
Wow.
So anyway, I just pray to God that I am still here to see it finished.
I know, we joked about that,
Yes, we did.
thinking.
Yeah.
oh, there's always a way.
Now it's actual.
Maybe that would be your
Reality.
retirement gift. It would be complete.
That would be a retirement gift. It honestly would be. I would be thrilled to death if that was what it was.
Maybe.
Jesus, Pete. Started that thing in 2017. We're already 7 years into it and hadn't moved the first shovel of dirt.
Oh, but we're ready.
Amen. But yeah, getting back to the, we were working at, I think right now, if you guys start working on your portion of it, that'd be a good time to actually sit down and do some real serious look at your Christmas layout. And like I said, go Lynn, go big.
Well, Blair asked me and I said, that's really, baby,
I know.
he's gonna take that.
Yeah. Sure.
I said, we do. have-
But yeah, I really would love to see us do something that's comprehensive and do something that's really nice. It would be some money, but-
Okay.
but I think it would be worth it. And I'm sorry, I'm kind of jealous when it comes to Calvert. I don't care if people come see it, as long as the people of Calvert love it.
Mhm.
That's all I worry about.
Mhm.
Cause it's for them. This is they paid for it,
Right.
they
Yeah,
need
I
to,
agree.
they need to enjoy
It's
it.
a terminology too.
That is
To
absolutely.
be honest with you.
I mean, yes, it's great. I'd love to have other people come and see it, but this is for the people of Calvert.
Right.
Well, on that line, let me make a comment. People come to our pickleball tournaments, you cannot imagine how much they praise this park system.
Yes, and I
I walk around, this is amazing. And they don't even see half of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, they think this is all.
Little big town, 3,000 people.
Well, this community gets a lot of positive comments from people visiting. I had family that came through the other day, said, that is such a beautiful little town. I said, yes, it is. It really is. We're proud of it. We're proud of it. Oh, this would be nice to put that thing back over here so you can say you have anything? No? Okay.
So possibly looking at our strategic plan, maybe August or September or something like that, or even down the road. winter
I'm trying to
time.
think, probably August, because if you remember, September is gonna hit you right at Labor Day.
Yeah.
So you might look at it next month, or if nothing else, look at it in October.
But
Yeah,
October is also the first week of fall break.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well, the first week of October's fall break. So I'll be missed. I
I
think it's the
know.
first week.
Well, now, if you all want to spend some time
'Cause we'll-
looking at that, if you think it's gonna be, then either we need to let's look at either a longer time span, maybe I'll bring dinner in or something. And or maybe start earlier. I don't know, whatever your schedules will allow. But we'll just set it up as a special, I could set it up as a special call any particular time. It doesn't have to be that.
It's August. Let me look. So I want to be there.
August 5th would be our regular meeting.
And so, I mean, if you guys want to try something later in the month and do a special call, they can do that, and if you're available a little earlier, that's fine. I still, like I said, we'll bring dinner in, but let's sit down with it. Let's talk about some serious things.
Yeah. How about
Can you guys do earlier or would that work
I'll
for
do.
you?
Oh, yeah.
That's before school starts.
I am too. I'm making.
Not
sure.
4, just 5?
I could be here. I could probably.
How about 4:30?
I could definitely do it.
Cammy, could you do that?
Yeah,
Monday's always an admin.
I gotta make sure we're in town.
Do you still want to do it on the 5th?
Look, I'm checking
Okay.
if that's okay.
It'd be nice to have David here too.
Well, let me know. I mean, like I said, again, it doesn't have to be that regular meeting. Because if we change the time or if we change the date and time, either one is gonna be a special call. And I'm just gonna set up for strategic planning and goal setting for the parks Department or Parks Board. And it'll just be, it'll be wide open. So,
One thing I call him Dave.
Do it. I know, it's okay.
It was Damien, David, I was like,
That's good. You don't get coming from supper. Yeah, I mean, you had them.
Yeah, I wonder if David will know his schedule ahead of time tonight. I'm not plant person, but I don't know. You think he would?
Get your schedule, I'd say, it's okay. It's just all kinds of.
Yeah. Can that be something that Allison,
just FYI, guys,
okay,
in capital projects this year, you guys have got $1,035,000 in capital projects the parks does. That is the largest and capital improvements of any department in the city.
honestly, I was afraid.
The city this year will spend 2.9 million, a little over 2.9 million on capital improvement projects. Now, I will tell you that makes next year really, really zilch.
yeah, which is
Yeah.
like, what was
It's not even,
we said-
we're not even,
like, we
right
pushed
now,
the
the initial
make-
projection is less than 150,000 next year.
Like maintenance, like we always say, we're gonna maintain what we have, not just add to.
I don't think you'll be doing even maintenance with that,
Oh,
because that's
yeah.
150,000 for the whole city,
Yeah.
not just parks. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that needed to be done, but yeah, that's really, we shut down that, if we were to do everything in the budget, we have drawn down our capital improvement portion, not our general fund, not anything on reserve, but just our capital improvements. We have actually drawn it down to almost nothing. Again, I don't think we will. We don't have time to do everything.
Right.
Now, a lot of the purchases are vehicles and materials and stuff like that. Yeah, we'll do those.
Mhm.
But to get all the projects done, I don't know. We also will have more carryover because there was some money we did not spend in this past year's budget for paving and stuff like that will actually show up as a carryover that we didn't put in the budget simply because we didn't know it would be there.
Right.
So it's not, I'm not preaching doom and gloom. I'm just saying that next year, we're not gonna have the money we had this year.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
So,
Good to know them.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm
To
finding
be
it.
honest, no.
You know when we're going to Gallimore? Cause I can't figure it out. He doesn't know either. Well, we're going maybe for work and he doesn't know for sure. If they're gonna send him. So,
also, right quick, before we get finished up, you have on the desk in front of you, that's the parade route and the lineup thing, just for your information. Fireworks are scheduled for the 4th of July, but depending on the weather, right now the forecast is not great. And if it changes and gets better, that's one thing, but I don't know exactly. We haven't had a chance. I meant to call today and see what the protocols are for that. I'm sure if it's a lightning storm, they are not going to set up or fire, either one. But the 5th is the next day we would shoot. If we can't do it the 5th either, I've talked to Blair and Gene and I had a conversation, and most likely we'll either move them to Labor Day or the balloon glow thing. So, but the fireworks will be here this year at some point. But Mother Nature has got to work with us on that.
When is it? So you
Good
should go-
question.
She doesn't know yet.
I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know. It's in September.
Okay.
That's all I
I
know.
know it's fall, but it's.
But they're gonna have the balloon glow at Memorial Park where the soccer fields are. That's what I understand today. Now, it may change. But right now, we're gonna have bands, we'll have food vendors, we'll have the balloon glow, and they'll light the balloons up. You've seen that, maybe
Yeah,
have,
Louisville, I heard them, they're 2 weeks before the derby. It's a big deal, watching all the town.
and then the next morning, they'll light them up and move them out to the airport. And, they'll do the tethering, I guess, up, I don't know if they'll do the tethering that night there or not. They may tether and just do the tethers there in the park, Memorial Park. I think we got 5 balloons. So that would be, there's enough ground, I think, for 5 in there. So I don't know if they're gonna fly them in or if they're gonna actually haul them in, set them up. Maybe that's what's gonna happen for Memorial Park. It'd be awful tough trying to squeeze down there on that one. You got more room at the airport.
Right.
Of course, I do know, I think that they might float too, so if they miss and line up in the slough,
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, I'll be here.
all right, good deal. All right, so, and you guys would like 4:30 on the 5th? Make a note of that.
So, 4:30,
It's 4:30, yeah, on the 5th. Oh, I'm sorry. Allison will send something out. I don't want to leave her out. Sorry?
I'll send out a group text.
Yeah.
I like that group text. I like the group. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my
Do
gosh.
do a meeting invite and hang
I
off
hate
the other one.
email. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it.
Chairman, I have nothing else for the board.
The email can go to John. I'm like, oh. It's like, I do ship my junk, and sometimes you get their phone, like, hey. And I'm okay with it.
That's just the best thing. I appreciate it. I truly appreciate it.
I think it does.
Yes.
We're gonna look at 5-year plans.
Yeah, I don't even know where I came up with 5 years. Was
No,
that right?
yeah,
Well, that's what we normally do as a 5-year
Okay.
plan.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll do even more than that, but I'm thinking,
Because Gene
things
came,
change so
no,
much.
Lynn came. Remember
But he
Lynn
said
came
think-
and he's
think
like,
big.
just think big,
Like,
green.
so,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's horse hockey. I'm sorry, think big, but don't think the
Yeah.
latter statement's right.
Exactly.
We're not the county, okay?
No, that's right.
All right, any other new business?
Yeah, nothing else there.
Motion to adjourn,
Second.
all in favor, aye.
All right.
Meeting adjourned at 6:25.